Guys, we are live on a Thursday for Rewatch special Buffy edition. Back here on the ones and twos. They forgot the keys. I let myself in. I'm gonna do see if we can do this podcast right. Wonderful to be here, but not quite as wonderful as having Brennan Marr joining me on the council today. Brennan, how you doing, pal?
I'm good. This will be fun.
Yeah, Checkpoint is a a fantastic episode, a great episode for season 5, especially considering what comes next. But let's get into a couple of things. What was going on around the time Checkpoint happened here, Brendan? Back in the year 2001, January 23rd, 2001. So as we record this, about a 25 20, we're just past the silver anniversary. Is that what it is? Is it silver for 25 years? I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, the silver anniversary of Checkpoint. Oh my gosh, what an anniversary it is. Okay, this one's written by Doug Petrie and Jane Espenson, of course. So the last time we saw any writing from Doug Petrie was "Fool for Love." Of course, the classic explaining Spike's backstory and stuff like that. Last time we heard anything from Jane Espenson was the episode before. She wrote Triangle. So this one's directed by Nick Mark, who also directed Fool for Love. So I guess him and Doug Petrie were a package deal for
hmm
the last couple episodes. Anyways, now the number one movie in your, and I know you love your country, the United States of America. Number one country at this time, Save the Last Dance, Brendan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Were you a huge fan of Save the Last Dance?
Still haven't seen it.
I've never seen it. I've never seen a minute. I think is that Julia Stiles? Is that one?
I'm assuming.
So I know there was a dance movie about about dancing or whatever,
There
but
were a lot of dance movies at that time.
there was one that had Susan Sarandon, J Lo, I believe, and Richard Gere, and it was filmed here in Winnipeg. At some point, I'm going to tell you a story about that. It's pretty
Oh, no.
not funny, not funny story, but yeah, I'll tell you at some point. Maybe I'll even share with the show at some point. Anyways, the number one song in the United States of down there, Independent Women. What a huge song this was for Destiny's Child. So big it broke up the band. You know what I mean? This is
Well, it's the stuff of legend now.
yeah, Charlie's Angels. Did you go see Charlie's Angels in the theater?
No, fortunately.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater. It's with my ex at the time. This is all winding down to when the ex and I had called quits. So, number one song in the UK. Now, if you're a wrestling fan, you'd know this because the Undertaker ended up taking on this song for his ring music for some reason, and he'd ride a motorcycle out onto the ring. I'm not a big wrestling fan, but I just remember this for some reason. Also, if you're just a mouse breather, you probably remember this. The number one song in the UK for some reason, "Rollin'" by Limp Bizkit.
Oh,
Yeah, rolling, rolling, rolling. So this was an episode that they had skipped a week for whatever reason. Angel had their episode play or whatever, but they didn't have their episode play after Triangle. It was the first time they ever kind of mixed things up or whatever, and didn't have either one of them backing each other. Those that we missed from the number because it was only number one for a week, I guess, in England. "Love Don't Cost a Thing" by J Lo. The
no.
aforementioned J Lo.
Oh,
Yes,
no.
her debut single. The thing that started it all for her, besides dancing on was it "In Living Color"? I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Now, number one song in Canada, and Canada gets it right. Canada wins at least a week, maybe maybe a little bit more, because they, and then they say they, we, our number one song, one more time, by Daft Punk. So there you
What
go.
was that? What was that again?
One more time. Oh, did you want to hear it
Oh,
one more time? Brendan,
oh
say it
no,
again. One
no,
more time.
no.
So great. R.I.P. to Daft Punk. So fantastic. Now the song that we missed that went to number one in Canada, and I'm pretty sure not anywhere else. Again, Canada got it right. So I remember this song playing in clubs when I was a much younger man in those days. Brendan, believe it or not, 25 years ago, I would have been about 25 years younger or so. I The number one song the week before was Darude's Sandstorm. Sandstorm went to
Oh
number one.
yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah, very. There isn't many times when an instrumental goes to number one in any country. There we go. Sandstorm. I remember screaming at the bar when the music was starting that there's a sandstorm. Sandstorm. So here we go. Now, DVD summary time. Uh, Buffy finds out she has seriously underestimated Glory after Giles returns from England, and then the Watchers Council returns to review her Slayer skills. I don't know.
It's
I don't know if underestimating is right, because she would have no idea about what was going to go on and stuff like that. So it starts out again another Scooby meeting. If they don't want to, like you saw the last episode or whatever, where they mentioned around the Buffy, like around Summer's dinner table, like she's the key, and you see her creeping down there and stuff like that. We find out in this episode she didn't either hear it or understand what they were talking about. Maybe it's easier to say understand, but they're gonna keep poking the bear here because they're gonna have a big meeting, even though they have a magic box that they can go to. They have the meeting at the Summers place and talk about
probably not the best decision on their part.
maybe not the best decision. And of course, they have to. They keep throwing all this Riley stuff in. It's like enough with Riley. Like there's a sweater. It's like, oh, Xander's like, oh, that must be. Oh, I won't say it. And then later on, they're talking. That's Riley speak and stuff like that. Like, give Riley stuff a rest. All right, it's
Yep.
over. He left her. By the way, it wasn't the other way around. So yeah, ridiculous that they keep bringing him up. Anyways, she like they're told like Giles tells them the Watchers Council's coming, and this is what's happening. Anya gets, of course, maybe a little worried about their whole history of killing demons. Maybe wondering what their policy on X demons is. It's
It's a fair question.
yeah, and one that never really gets resolved either. Buffy doesn't want them back. She's all worried. Buffy fired these guys. Like, this is one thing I don't understand about this whole thing. It's like, why does she care if they're coming in or not? She fired them. She didn't want anything to do with them. All she wants to know is stuff about Glory. And it was more Giles that went over to go find out stuff. So, whatever. Anyways,
Stuffy
uh,
British people.
yeah, this time Buffy's talking about the key or whatever. She's worried about people listening, but but what's going on? Everybody there is like, well, who cares? You always have to protect Donnie, anyways. Like, who cares if they're going? And then Will's like, yeah, she hears. What's the matter? Like, she's gonna go to school and start talking about all this. I would imagine if a 14-year-old girl goes to school and starts talking about a mystical key that is somewhere, blah blah blah, and there's a demon trying to get it and stuff like that. Anywhere else in America, I'll say Canada as well, probably would have they would have their parents called to have a meeting in.
Yeah, CPS might need to get involved.
That would be a very harsh thing, but yes, it's not uh, not out of the question that they would get called. I can tell you that for sure. Anyways, Giles is just hoping that they'll have more information on Glory and her oranges. I keep saying oranges. Origins. It's the word I'm
Origin.
looking for.
Yes,
Right now,
origin.
speaking of the good old Glorificus,
Ah,
she's
yes.
she's not looking too good at the moment. She looks a little pale, a little sweaty.
A little
Something's going on there.
peaked, as they would say.
Yeah. Now, Drake comes in. They got a new minion. What's her name? Jinx. They're bringing looks like a mail carrier,
A
postal.
mailman. Oh
Yeah,
no.
a postal worker. Well, I'm just gonna not gonna go postal in this one. I can tell you that. Anyways, she's there's like, yeah, you got to drink this guy. He's like, chop chop. Drake gives Jinx crap and he's like, here, like, here, do it and stuff like that. It's like, drink up. So they yet another poor soul loses their sanity to Glory. Now, Dreg's gonna tell her this whole thing about how the key has to get used quickly. It's like chop chop, things are speeding up and stuff. And she's like, yeah, I get it, but there's something keeping me from my key, and that's that lousy Buffy Summers. The only thing. Now, she's not gonna need much time though. Like, she's decided that's it. I don't have much time. I'm gonna deal with this Buffy girl too sweet. So next thing we see, they're all at the magic box here. Then the council shows up. Of course, it's led by Quentin Travers. Striding
Stuffy,
in.
stuffy British people.
Oh, they're stuffy British people. Even more if it's English people or like American people pretending to have an English accent. Just sounds even more stuffy.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true. That's true.
they Most of them have a hard time doing a common, let's say, English accent. Most of them sound very posh, except James Marsden, of course, who really
He
did it well.
is
He had,
Californian.
yeah, yeah, and he had a pretty good teacher on set. Uh, you know. Anyways, so Giles is going to say whatever, and then of course Quentin's going to get very passive aggressive here about how there's dangerous items on the shop floor. The crew has come in; they're running inventory on everything already.
Anya's being her usual capitalistic self.
Yes, fantastic. This is a great Anya episode. For she isn't in it much or whatever. Every time she's in it, it's great.
And the Caulfield is amazing.
Yes, fantastic. So, they're finding a whole bunch of things they consider worrisome. So they're gonna say, you know what? There's that one guy that steps up. He's like, "Attention, Magic Box shoppers, we're gonna have to close." And Joe's like, what? He's like, well, no, no, no. This is gonna happen anyways. But Quinn keeps saying, "Oh, don't worry. It's just for the duration of their stay." He's gonna apologize to everyone in there and say it's all gonna be up and running after the review. Anya, of course, is trying to sneak out the back door and stuff like that here. And Quentin starts asking her some questions and stuff like that. She has to again stress all of her Americanisms that she's from. Where is it, like southern western Missouri or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah, Quentin.
Indiana.
Yeah,
Indiana, I think.
yeah. Quentin has to tell Giles that afterwards, he just says, she works for me. Forget about it. Don't talk to them. I need to get out of here. So Quinn's gonna talk to Giles there. After trying to shame him for his attitude about all this, that the council has all these resources, and they found some info on Glory, which is important to say. And there's extremely disturbing stuff there, also probably pretty important. But they need to be sure of the Slayer's methods before giving it up.
Yeah, I was
Who
gonna say. I was gonna say what methods?
who else are you gonna give this to? Oh, we got to make sure it's good for Buffy, even though Glory's there, she's in the town and stuff like that. None of that. Like, again, let me stress, I think this is a fantastic episode of Buffy, but I just think the whole deal with having them, put Buffy through the ringer or whatever before they give her any information about something as powerful as her and stuff like that. Well, pretty dumb, if you ask me. Anyways, Giles is going to share. Of course, she's going to be trusted. She's been training so much, and she's never been so on the ball. This is where you get that history class thing where she's basically nodding off while they talk about Rasputin. She's got to get into it with the professor again. Just questioning, his like the view on history and stuff like that. Well,
Well, if Hollywood has taught us anything, it's that Rasputin survived.
right. Well, she says like he's been spotted as late as the 1930s. It's like, whoa, would you like to teach the class all this other stuff, all the stuff about speculating? Of course,
Well,
he gets
it's
the.
funny
Go ahead.
because if he says, maybe you'd like to teach the class, I was reminded of when Abed did that in Community.
Yes. Yeah. Who's the boss? It's Angela.
Yes,
Angela's
it's
the
Angela.
boss, by the way.
Angela's the boss.
Angela, without question, was the boss of Who's the Boss. Let's
Yes.
get that right. Tony Maselli worked for Angela. This is going to be on our other podcast coming soon. Rewatchers Council. Who's the boss? I'm just
Oh
kidding.
no.
Well, I have zero
Well, don't
interest
make
in
any promises we can't keep.
and that's for sure. Now, of course, Buffy gives the whole. Everyone thought for sure that Columbus was the one who discovered North America, except the Vikings were there like 400 years before. They're
Oh yes.
over in Newfoundland.
Oh yes.
For goodness sakes. Anyways, the professor has the whole class laughing at her again by the end. So
Wouldn't it have been funny if Rasputin had been a character on this show?
I don't know why he wasn't, to tell you the truth, especially after
That would have been funny.
just something that she could have said, I knew it. Anyways, because she said it
But to
before.
be fair, the professor's description of his religious beliefs is actually false.
That's true. Now,
I'm just saying because I'm one of those annoying history accuracy people.
that's fine. I know most of my stuff from a Boney M song,
Oh
which is which is
yes.
also historically accurate. I'm sure he was the lover of the Russian queen. And there's no denying that, except for maybe there's history that says he wasn't. Anyways,
Who knows?
that's speculation, which is what got Buffy into all this trouble. Anyways, she gets into a fight with
Yeah, join us for our Rasputin podcast. Yeah.
guys. Let's join us for our Rewatchers Council. A look on Rasputin. We're gonna have the folks from Boney M on the show and just tell us exactly what was going on with all of that. Now, she's gonna have a fight here with a vampire. That poor vampire is getting the crap kicked out of him. She's taking out all her frustrations and saying stuff about the professor. The vampire at one point has to say, "Who's like, who are you talking about?" Like in the midst of getting his ass beat almost to death, but she doesn't get to do the slaying. Spike shows up to finish off the job. It's like,
Yes.
what the heck is all this? Expects gratitude afterwards for saving her. Says that she needs him, and then he invoke Riley's name once again, talking about how she couldn't keep him. She either pushes men away or is too clingy, and then walks away saying she doesn't hold men's interest. For some reason, she lets all this stuff from Spike get to her, which is A, ridiculous, and B, considering what happens later, it's like, well, there's a lot of Spuffy fans, and I've never understood, not for 1 second, especially if something like that happened. Anyways, we're gonna see Ben, good old Doctor Ben or Nurse Ben. I can't remember what he is. Nurse, I think. Anyways, he's gonna be talking with Jinx here. Glory wants all the info on Buffy. He knows that Ben knows her. Ben has no idea what he's talking about. He says, well, Buffy Summers is the Slayer. And so they say, Buffy Summers is the Slayer. That he knows what the Slayer is was kind of interesting. But anyways, Jinx wants to know where Buffy lives. Who her friends are and stuff like that too. I thought the who her friends are point was pretty menacing. I like that.
Odd because most people in Sunnyvale seem to already know where she lives.
Oh yeah, everybody knows where Buffy lives. Anyways, Ben doesn't want to tell him anything. Jinx says Glory's message was just to do it. Just do it. What? Do it. He said, "Well, okay, I got a message for Glory from me." So next thing we're going to see is Giles discussing Buffy's fighting style. What's that worth with the council? She's going to finally walk in. Quentin's going to want a demonstration here. Then gives her the lowdown on everything. It's like they're going to observe her training, talk to all her friends. Of course, Buffy isn't going to be happy about any of this, especially the remark about how she lets civilians out with her when she's on patrol.
Mm.
When Quentin's going to act like this big shot now. The council are the major players. Here, Brennan, for goodness sakes, they remain as all the Slayers change. Giles has to put in a little bit about how morbid that is, considering what's going to happen for them to keep their jobs. Anyways, Quentin's then going to speak directly to Buffy, saying they have info on Glory, and if she fails the review or resists their recommendations, they're not going to give it up. He says something to Buffy is like, I think she hears what I'm saying, kind of a deal, which is a pretty messed up thing to say. Anyways, Giles is going to get mad. Of course, he's going to get mad. Buffy's going to calm off a little bit. Quentin then says they could permanently close the shop, send Giles packing back to England. In a drop of a hat, he could be out of there by the morning and stuff like that. So he never come back. That's their power. She's dealing with grown-ups now. Brennan. Oh, are you? All you guys that seem like proper little cowards. Anyways, we get Jinx back at Glory's place, looking a little battered. Ben didn't just hit him a couple of times. He hit him pretty good. His cuts above his eye and stuff like that. He has to tell Glory that Ben doesn't want to help at all. Of course, she isn't going to be happy with that, weirdly. Offers some suggestions how he could get the key from him. There's some interesting and, possibly more interesting ways for him to do that. She's then gonna confide in Jinx that he's the only one that understands. Jinx has been on the show now. This is his third scene. The only one who's gonna understand Glory. Then we get the great bit where she starts getting angrier and talks about getting her hands on Ben. Jinx is just grimacing. Then she says, so good. I think, well, I said this from the beginning. I think Glory's my favorite villain, but between her and the mayor, just so charming.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's
Incredibly
a hard
charming.
choice.
I think they're both fantastic. Anyways, Giles wonders if he should have set Buffy just loose on the council. Just slap them all around for a while. Buffy wonders if she could hit a 60-year-old man. He doesn't think, maybe not, but he has no problem doing it. Which is, oh my goodness. Well, anyways, he's going to assure they can follow up on all their threats and stuff like that. And then it's the bureaucracy is their specialty, which is the worst. And I hate people that hide behind paperwork. Buffy wonders if she'll pass the review. She's worried about them questioning her methods, as Glory's said or whatever. No problem. Glory's had no problem beating her ass and stuff like that. So her methods certainly aren't working as of right now. Plus, she isn't sure she can give away any key info. And if you give up any key info to the council, the first thing they're going to do is run and get Dawn. That's for sure. So Giles tells her it's the council who are the ones being bastards around here. She hasn't done anything wrong, which is true. Those council bastards are bastards. Buffy tells him she can't lose Giles. He's the most important thing. They went after the most important thing, Giles, which is something important alone for next season. But anyways, as of right now, the interviews are going to start. Let's go through them real quick and stuff like that. I love, of course, the Anya stuff where she's giving way too much information. That's wrong or whatever, but it's fine. Anya Christina Emanuela Jenkins is one heck of a handle to have, Brennan.
That's a good name, yes.
Yes, so that is a large Scrabble score. There's no way you can get it. There's no way you can get it. Anyways, it's like, and don't, she talks about how she was the little patriot growing up because she was July 4th and stuff like that. She keeps going on and on and on. And the council guy finally stops and says, "You spell that Anya." I love that scene. Every time I watch that one, I laugh. And then we get to see Tara and Willow. The one guy's asking what their relationship is. And it's like, oh, and then they do this whole thing where eventually they're going to say, they're lesbian lovers together and stuff like that. And he's like, with Buffy, he's like, Tara's like, oh, yeah, just good friends. Good friends. It's yeah, a lot of fun. Then you get to see Xander talking about how he's been with Buffy and Willow since the beginning. The guy says, "Okay, so what kind of powers and special skills have you developed?" It's like, well, none. And then he talks about the time that he was the heart of the Scooby Soup that was used to defeat Adam.
Oh, yes. Oh,
And then
yes.
yeah, it says they got so the Slayer needs this help all the time. And then we cut to Will and Tara, of course. And like, no, she doesn't need the help, but they can do the witchcraft stuff. It's like well, proficiency level. Like back when I was first watching the show, I wasn't anything of it. Now that I'm watching the show, it's like, oh, so that's like OWLs, isn't it? And so there's like a new
Oh,
level where you guys.
yes. Nice, nice, cool. Nice shot.
So they're just like, what level are you at? It's like, oh, a high one. And Tara's like, 5. So okay, and you guys are registered as mythical beings, and like, well, yes. Then you get to see Anya again. Asks if they know anything about this key. They don't, which is a good thing. And then Xander tells them that don't worry about the vampires hate Buffy. Then we're gonna see Spike in his little crypt there, with 3 other members. One with a crossbow, one with a crucifix, and we find out that the lady wrote her thesis just on Spike, who's always trying to say things about boys and stuff like that. And this is the whole thing about Buffy is like her relationship. She's bad at relationships, kind of thing. They're
Oh,
holding the crucifix and the crossbow, but if they know anything about Spike, they should know he has that chip in his head. Why would they be so worried about Spike to hold the crucifix up? The crossbow, I get. You can. It's always nice to threaten, but I think the crucifix is more of a defensive thing to use than an offensive thing. Anyways, he also likes and says that once Buffy will nip of blood if it's just lying around at the scene and stuff like that. Anyways, he's hoping that Buffy's going to be crying on her shoulder soon. All this. Anyways, yeah. And when she says like, yeah, I did my thesis on you, he thinks that's neat, which is fun because that's something he sued a couple of times before. Anyways, she wants to know. He wants to know how the exam's going. So we're gonna see that the council has set up a little thing in the danger room, a little scenario. She's got to protect the straw dummy against this council guy, the one that was interviewing Anya and Xander. She has to keep the dummy safe while blindfolded, of course. And Quentin's going to start yelling out instructions in Japanese, which somehow she was supposed to know already. So they say begin. Of course, this is something that She's done before. She's had no problem doing blindfolded tests and stuff like that. But Quentin yelling out the stuff and Giles having to yell out the translation. Eventually, she gets frustrated. She just going to take matters into her own hand and says, "Guys, I got this." She ends up pummeling a little bit with his axe, breaking his ribs, grabs the axe from him, throws it. First, it goes right dead center into the dummy, knocks over another council guy. The lady clicks the timer on it forever. Anyways, she promises to go do it better. She's gonna blame an inner ear problem, which is fun. I don't know if you've ever seen anybody with an inner ear infection. I have. Uh,
Hmm.
it's awful, but if you laugh, I don't blame you. It happened to my poor stepmother. She had like, it just knocks your equilibrium out.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a dizzy spell that lasts for days. Anyways, Quentin says they're going to move on to the real review after this. He wants to know all about her strategies and plans. Of course, he's going to gaslight her about taking time to prepare and stuff like that. Oh, and leave. Buffy's going to go home. Calls for her mom, which is something that's important to put in there. But turns out her mom isn't around. It's Glory that's around. She knows where Buffy lives somehow, so she's gonna tell her that the night house is nice, for her, for you. It's nice. It's quaint. Buffy grabs a poker, but Glory very politely, she is not being a horrible monster, even though she is at this time. She says she doesn't want to fight. You could tell she did by the fact that she'd be dead by now.
Ah.
You know, she just wants to know where this key is, and the fact that she thinks that Buffy knows where it is the only thing keeping her alive at this present time. So the balance of power shifts as soon as she says that. He tells her she should be worshiping her right now. Dawn walks into the room. A lot of people get frustrated with Dawn. This is maybe one of the things where she can hear somebody in the room talking about how you should be working, like what she can do. Dawn just goes like Buffy's doing the get out of here eyes, and she's like, "What?" And then finally she gets it. She's going to start backing up. Gloria knew she was there, I guess, the whole time. Says, "Hey, little girl," or whatever. Uh, Brings her over and calls her the darlingest thing she ever did see. But, yeah, very nice. Charming. Again, Gloria's incredibly charming. Dawn's going to act tough here. Gloria's going to ask her name. Dawn gives it up right away for all that's worth. Then she wants to know where her sister had her key. Buffy's saying, "Well, she doesn't know anything." Dawn has to fight back about this. Like, I know some things. It's like you're 14 years old, Dawn, and you know what your sister does for a living. You know that your sister isn't happy that this person's in this room. Why are you fighting back about this? Anyways, Buffy's going to tell her just to go upstairs. Dawn says, you always talking about things and think I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. So, one thing you can tell by all this is she didn't figure out the whole key part, at least from the end of last episode. You know what I mean?
Yes.
She's going to go. Glory enjoys her sassiness. And whenever I hear that, I think of that old Saturday Night Live sketch with the Vidal Sassoon sassy.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I'm in the middle of a sassy sandwich. Anyways, uh, Glory says, "Yeah, I like her, but I'm going to kill her. I'm going to kill your mom, and I'm going to kill all your friends if she doesn't get this key and stuff like that. Someone's
Mm.
dying the next time I see you." Like the fact that she's so casual and cold at the same time is Then she just leaves. Joyce is going to show up next or whatever and wants to know who this chick was. Buffy just says, "Pack a bag. You're not staying here, and neither is the little one." And she's take him over to Spike's. There's one thing that Spike has is supernatural strength from being a vampire. If it ever came down to a fight, she knows that he's the one guy that'd be able to hold her off, at least for a little bit or whatever. Try and protect them. He's of course at first pretty standoffish about it, but and as of lately, he's eventually going to turn and just do whatever Buffy said. So Joyce has that nice little quipper, but I like what you haven't done with the place. He's like, don't break anything. And then he says, now, be quiet. Passions is on. And Joyce is right there. It's like, Passions? Uh, I don't know if you ever saw Passions, like that soap opera
I
Passions.
never did. No.
I saw maybe a couple episodes. I think I'm all the mystical stuff. It turns out there was a ton of mystical stuff. It was like when kind of dark shadowy.
Yes.
Dark Shadows at
Yeah.
first was like, but Dark Shadows came out before I was around. There was a couple of television shows that happened before I was born. Now, so it's that same kind of deal. Well, at least with Dark Shadows, it was all about vampires and stuff like that. This one just had mystical elements in it and stuff like that. So I always felt like after watching Buffy and stuff like that, it was like I should have watched this more and stuff like that. But yeah, it didn't last long. I don't know how popular it actually was. So we get back to the magic box. Scoobies are all sitting up there in that loft up at the top there, discussing the ramifications if Buffy fails this test. Quentin's going to go on to tell Giles, "Oh, your Slayer is 20 minutes late." Giles doesn't really worry about any of this. And says she's going to show. This is when we see her in the alley. And if she hasn't had enough going on lately, she's going to get attacked by a bunch of middle aged knights, like the Knights of Ni, almost for
Oh
God's
yes.
sake.
Yes.
All three, well, they all have like long swords and then like these metal quarterstaff kind of pole things that they have. She just wants it to get put off until she can deal with it later, but no dice here. So she just absolutely beats their asses. There's three of them, no problem. She's going to question the last one when he's down on the ground. He wants to know what this is. Turns out it's human. She is not impressed by this at all. He says he's one soldier in a vast army. Brennan, for God's sakes. The Knights of Byzantium. And whenever I hear them say the name or whatever, the song Knights in White Satin
Ooh.
always
Yeah.
goes into my head for
Yes.
whatever reason. Anyways, it's an ancient order. And also now her enemy, for God's sakes, like she needs another one. Also, they don't like glory. They are no fans of the beast. We find out. Tells her if it takes 100 of their soldiers to get her, they're going to send 100. If it takes 1,000, Brennan, they're going to send 1,000. It's like, I was like, 1,000? What's going on here? Anyways, they're not stopping till that key is destroyed and, her, gets in the way and stuff like that. So he's at all this time. He's expecting to get killed, of course, here. But she lets him go. She's gonna keep that sword though. That's a heck of a thing to have, is a long sword in this day and age. So she's gonna go into the magic box, carrying the sword in front of her, looking a little confused about everything. Quentin's gonna say, "You're late." She says, "Yeah." Giles is gonna ask, "Was there a fight?" She says, "Yep." And then she's going to lay into these guys. She's going to drop the sword on the table. Says, "This review, guys, not happening. Forget about it. There's going to be no interrogations either. She isn't going to jump through any hoops for these jerks. And one thing is especially important right now, no interruptions." Do not speak if she's
And
speaking.
she means it.
Oh yes, she's had it with folks telling her how unimportant she is. Turns out she knows why. It's because she has all the power in this. Now, and they don't have Jack squat. Tells them Glory came by, telling her about how she was a bug. She could squish her at any times and stuff like that, but didn't. They just talked. They were just yapping, for God's sakes, because she needs something from Buffy. And then they all came back from England, same deal. They're trying to beg her to get back in. It's not the other way around. They're not begging Buffy to go back to the council. They need to come back in. Then that one guy is going to try and say something. That's when that sword goes flying right by his face and sticks in the wall and reminds him that she said no interruptions about any of this, and then tells him all the info they have about Glory is useless unless they tell her what it's all about. So she's going to lay it down. You guys are going to tell her the stuff about Glory. You're going to tell her everything. Then you're going to go back to England, and you're going to wait in England until she needs more information from you guys. On top of that, Giles is going to get reinstated as an official watcher,
Retroactive pension.
full pay, and then retroactively paid from she says the month of his firing. I would have said from the second, you know what I mean? The Scoobies are going to help. You're not going to stop with that. They like Xander, for instance, has done more field time than all of you guys combined. One of my favorite things is when she starts talking about we got two powerful witches and an ex demon, and then Anya yells out, "Willow's a demon!" So good.
Yes, that was a
She's
good one.
yeah, amazing. She asks Quentin to tell her if it's deal. And then she has to add or whatever because I think he knows what I'm talking about. Stuff like that. She has to put that snide mark in. But the way she does that in the scene is just so low level and stuff like that, and so easily said. You'd have to take a minute to remember. Oh yeah, this is what Quentin said to her before, and she's just throwing it back in his face. So add a girl, Buffy. Of course, he's going to accept. Then he says, Giles, you had a bottle of single malt scotch hidden there by the incense and stuff like that. Why don't you grab me that? And it's like, uh, she's like, yeah. He's like, wait. She says, wait. It's like, you got information on Gloria. I need to hear this thing before anything goes on and stuff like that. What kind of a demon is she? And Quentin has to go, well, that's the whole problem. Gloria isn't a demon, is a god. And
Yeah.
Buffy's face when she says, "Oh," and then the episode ends is one of my favorite endings of any episode in the
It's a good
show.
ending. It's a good ending.
It's fantastic. Now we got Blood Ties next,
Yes,
and
and I think I'll be joining you for that one.
fantastic. Well, one thing I'll say: if anybody was ever annoyed by a Donnie before, this episode isn't going to help. She is she goes through some things and she takes people with her. A couple of big secrets are exposed here. Well, one for one person, one for the rest of the entire show. So there you go. Brennan, thanks so much, buddy, for joining me on the council today.
You're welcome.
Why don't you tell people what's up with you as it comes to your participation in the internets?
Alright, well, you can find me on Blue Sky, BrennMartin@BlueSky.social, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube at Page Turners They Were Not.
Awesome. Thanks, bud. I'll be back tomorrow. I think I'm back with you tomorrow, Brennan. How lucky
Yes,
are we that we get
yes.
to do Rewatchers Council again? We got to talk about Angel. We got Blood Money coming tomorrow. Maybe not as good as episode as this one of television,
We'll see.
but there's some things to talk about. It's always fun to talk Angel with you. It's always fun to talk Angel with you, especially since you haven't seen these episodes, which is always a lot of fun. Uh, I'll be back on Monday over on the sports channel we have around here, Good Friends Better Rivals. We're gonna do a little Olympic preview, I guess we should say, and wrap up what's happened in the NHL of late on our new podcast, Post Whistle. I guess it's a part of the old playoff beard and stuff like that. But for the regular season, we talk Post Whistle. I'll be joining with Ryan Christensen for that. Can't wait to talk some hockey. And on Tuesday, I'm live with the Delia, talking about the English Premier League on starting 11. Yeah, her Arsenal squad after 20 something years in great shape to win the league. And let's see if they bottle it. Who knows? But I'm just hoping Chelsea can get into a Champions League spot. So thank you all for watching / listening. Like, subscribe, all those good things. Guys, we will see you later.